Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Sunday Night Live, the automotive show where we talk about all things automotive. It has to do with the car business. We talk about it and we bring in the experts that share with us what they do, how they do, and sometimes we get some secret hacks out of them. Depends on the show. So I'm very happy. I've got Brian Maxwell with me today. This guy is a trainer extraordinaire. I've seen some of his stuff, very down to earth and real. There's no pretension. You know, he knows the business. He knows the scenarios that happen, and he approaches it in such a way that engages the people. And there's a lot more things that he does that you're going to find out about tonight. So, Brian, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks a lot, Paul. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for inviting me, and I look forward to, having some fun with you.
All right. So now, some people know you, some people don't know you. Tell us a little bit about Brian Maxwell. How did you get here? How'd you start in the car business? What motivates you, and all that good stuff?
Well, again, just thank you again. But Brian Maxwell, and like you said, some people may know, some people may not. But I've been in the sales industry for 21 years. And I was a former college basketball player. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, and left home to play ball, got to Florida, met my future wife, started having kids, dropped out into my senior year of college because I had to work and make some money. And so for the next few years, I was bouncing around doing little call center jobs. You know, my thing was to be the inbound calls king. I wanted the easiest job that paid the most money, which obviously still wasn't very much. But at that time, at 21 years old, if I was making $12 an hour, I thought I was on my way. And at the age of 24, we got evicted out of my apartment due to my own inability to maintain employment. I'm jumping from job to job and I'm quitting them left and right. I had no real work ethic. And at that time, when we faced that eviction, the only places that continuously were hiring were dealerships. And my ex-wife at the time, she said, well, look, you need to go apply there. And I can remember like it was yesterday saying, go apply to dealership to sell cars. Man, I never do that crap. I'm not those guys are liars. They shady. I thought I was above automotive sales at that time. Wasn't making no money, had no skills, but I was above it, right? But, happy wife, happy life. So I went because I didn't have a leg to stand on. I went and I was interviewed and I was hired. Now, I would love to tell people, this was back in 2002. I would love to tell people that when I went into the dealership after facing an eviction with the family, I went in like gangbusters and ripped it up. I didn't. I was probably one of the worst salespeople that dealership had. It was Coggin Chevrolet in Jacksonville, Florida. I was hard-headed, thought I knew everything. And as far as training, listening to videos or reading books, at those time it was tapes. Get out of here. I didn't have time for that crap. I wanted to make some money. Yeah, it was tapes, right? I wanted to make some money. I ain't have time for all that training stuff. Just put me out there, coach. Put me in the game. I don't need to. That was my attitude. And I had a really good group of older guys around me that just hounded me every day. And one of them heard me talking one day about how much I love my kids. I'm a young guy. I love my kids. I do anything for my family. And he said, you sound real stupid right now. Now, at this time, I'm 24 years old. I've only been away from Detroit for about 3 years. So that Detroit is still in me. And I say, stupid, I'm ready to fight this guy. And he said, if you're serious about making money the way you claim to be, and you love your family the way you say you do, you would do what successful people do. And up to that point, I thought, waking up, giving thanks to, my creator and going into my place of business was what successful people did. But he went in his office and he gave me the first real book I'd ever read. And it was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I'll be honest, I took that book and home and threw it because it was the dumbest thing in the world to me because I've been thinking about being rich my whole life, right? What is this book going to teach me? How to think and grow rich. And I already know how to think about being rich. And I tossed it. Every day, this guy, Leon Frazier, every day he pestered me. He would ask, hey, did you read the book? Did you read the book? And I'm watching this guy. He was making $250,000 a year at the store. He was doing his thing. And I actually took that book one day, man, and I started reading it. And what really triggered me is it was breaking down what causes successes and failures through the way we speak, the way we think, the type of energy we give out, the people that we're around. And it freaked me out because everything that it said don't do was what I did in my everyday life and thought it was normal.
Ouch.
And I quickly began to realize. So I devoured that book and I started just tearing into anything I can get my hands on. The Science of Being Rich by Wallace Wattles, Robert Kiyosaki, Les Brown, The Power of Purpose, Brian Tracy, The Psychology of Selling. I got into everything. And then, so in my first year, I stumbled, into making a few sales and a little bit of money. And it wasn't until my next year in the business that I was able to cross and made $101,313. And then from there, just boom. And the way I got into the training side of it is after a few years of really beating on my craft, of honing this thing, because sales is a science. It's a real art form. I think when I hear people say a natural born salesperson, they're delusional. There's no such thing. We may be born with certain characteristics and personality traits that make it easier for us to adapt, but nobody is born with that secret sauce to really, hone it in. And I always thought the gift of gab was a positive, powerful thing, and it's really not. It really shows your level of ignorance, because the intelligent use the 2 ears and the 2 eyes versus the 1 mouth. And so once I grasped this concept, different team members and myself would do certain things, or I would help people at my store. I would show them what I was doing, whatever you call it, mentor, big brother, whatever you want to call it. So when they would leave and go to other stores, they would be ripping it up. And they would say, where'd you get that? How'd you learn to do that? And them guys were real. They would say my name. And so I got 2 calls from 2 different stores, and they may, offer me a package. And it was a really cool, more than I had ever made, like one was about 175, one was a little bit more. And as a trainer, corporate trainer, working with the people. And I said,
dude,
man,
you're like a reformed smoker. Right? From throwing the book away to devouring everything you could get your hands on to feed your head.
That's what worked. And once I said, if these people value me enough to offer me this, what is it that I'm really doing? What do I know? So I just began to really investigate why I was doing what I was doing. Why was it working? I really had to go back to the beginning when I started being successful and really start analyzing, which a lot of salespeople should do. We don't do enough. But what was working and why was it working? And really the psychology behind it. And I was amazed at how duplicatable it really was. And you could kind of, nothing is 100%, but damn, you can cut that curve down with data. Men lie, women lie, data and numbers don't. And so once I took it serious and just created, nothing is brand new. So I took processes that I was taught, then with my style would work for me, and regurgitate it out to another generation who don't have the same attention span or maybe the same motivations that they had back in the day. So I'm a conduit.
I always laugh when, when you get to be old, you tend to see the same stuff come out over and over. And I always laugh when I see old stuff reintroduced as something brand new. Hey, check this out. Man,
it's the crazy.
Again.
It's crazy. It's like this. It's like the customer focus thing, right? I am amazed at how many, not just in the automotive industry, but businesses, period, act as if being customer focused is a new thing that is just revolutionary. And it's like, no, it's what we should have been doing the whole time, especially in the automotive industry. Right.
I tell people all the time. You guys act as though this is something brand new. It is not. It's always been the cornerstone of what drives business. So let me get to a couple of comments here, because I hate to fall too far behind. Sometimes we get caught up in the moment and like, oh man, I forgot like 30 comments.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
We have Orlando O. Spencer says, Brian.
What's up, Orlando?
Thank you for having Brian on. Oh, I'm thankful for Brian for having Brian on, because this guy.
What's up, Orlando? I see him on LinkedIn sometimes. Yeah.
Michael Weldon from the West Coast. Good evening. Says evening, everyone. Mark Williamson is on. Lou Ramirez, the car guy. Brian, the true car guy, building a lasting legacy on the industry. We are all better because he said yes to the car business.
Hey, salute, Lou. Thank you, brother. I see you out there, Lou.
Kurt
Hunter.
Von Annen. Good evening, gentlemen. Kurt, how are you? He's my buddy in the power sports arena. And my favorite retired master tech, Mr. Ron Usher. Says, hi,
What's
Paul
up,
and
Ron?
Brian.
What's
Abel
up, Ron?
Aguirre, another one of my service peeps, Fixed Ops Brothers. Says, howdy, y'all. And Kurt says, bring it, Brian. Books open your mind to opportunities, then others on the outside congratulate your luck. You know, good luck is the result of good planning, is how I view luck.
Yeah.
Mark Williamson says, what's up, guys? And we have Lisa Goldenthal. Love this. My buddy Joe Perez, hello all. And Lou, the coffee guy, says, great seeds produce great fruit. Keep pouring that good in mind, and great things will follow. Mark says new is old and old is new again. The song remains the same. And Greg Dudley's in the house, says, hey guys, so welcome everybody to the show. Appreciate you guys tuning in.
Thanks for coming in, guys.
You're like a battery that's been fully charged and some. You know, like when the fuel gauge stops here, but your gauge goes about here. It goes like a few lines beyond that.
Hey, it's funny. A lot of those guys that you named, I see their stuff, and I like their stuff too. So it's real, recognize real. So I appreciate everybody, taking time out of their day to join us. This is awesome.
So you do a lot of things. Let's start with number one. And I didn't know this before today. Staffing. Staffing is something that everybody struggles with. We can't get enough people. There's a lot of stores where, they might have had 12 salespeople before, but guess what? Now they have 3 or 4. The GM's doing deliveries, and things are tough, right?
Right.
So how do you help people with staffing?
Well, one of the things that I really that I hope dealerships learn, and a lot of them are realizing, is that their primary focus is helping customers solve transportation problems. That's what they do. They're not staffing agencies. They're not training facilities, at all either. So what we do is, my company, my team, by me being from the industry, being one of the guys that came through the whole funnel, I understand the mentality. I understand why people jump in it. Listen, nobody is sitting in their high school senior year right now saying, boy, when I graduate, I'm going to go sell cars for a living. Nobody. All of us, unless our dads own it or some highly influential person in our lives showed us that they were making real money, most of us stumbled into it looking just for work, and we found a niche that worked. So taking that ideology and that mentality and mixing that up with today's, culture, we bring in skilled people, those who follow my content online. We create customized ads for our dealers, things that they don't have to worry about because they don't have content creators. They don't have copywriters. They don't have the tools that you really need to attract the right way. Some of them are running campaigns that look like the person's applying to be a Wall Street broker. And it's insane. So we just take the burden away, where your management shouldn't have to leave the desk, where they should be helping other people put out fires and close deals, but they're doing 2, 3, and 4 interviews within 15 minutes because they got 2 customers waiting. So they're not being able to really qualify the person. They say they're great, bring them in, put them on a guarantee to find out that this person been wanting to, shovel dog mess for the last 6 months and never wanted to be in the business. So waste of time, energy, and money. No, I take that off their plate. We run through the screening process. We qualify them, and even better than that, I run them through days of training on site where we can watch their mannerisms, watch them role play, see who they really are. Again, nothing's 100%, but we get a better view of who it is that you're bringing onto your team before you make that financial commitment and, bring them on board. So it saves a lot of time, makes management extremely happy, minimizes and reduces turnover, and, creates higher production.
Hold on a second. I got a message from my buddy Steve Chess, and he said that he's having the audio is fine, but he's not seeing the video. Is anybody else having any video issues? Because it shows fine on my device. It shows fine on my laptop.
Shows fine over here too.
And it shows fine there too. So Steve, it might be your device that needs to be rebooted. I don't know. So is anybody else experiencing any tech issues? Let us know if that is the case, but hopefully not. So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did want to make
No,
sure because he messaged me separately, so I wanted to make sure I addressed that right away.
no, we're good. Yeah, we're good. No, that was pretty much it. It saves a lot of time, and I get it where a lot of stores are afraid because it's a thing. You're letting somebody from the outside come in and pick your family members for you. But I
Right?
assure you, when they do it with a company that has a good reputation and they're doing it working together, not looking at them as some third party coming in. No, this is a relationship. Because if these people don't work for your store, we're never going to do business again. So I
Now, hold
want to
on a
make
second.
sure.
I like how you put that. Somebody's coming into your store and picking your family members. Because you know what? The amount of time that we spend in sales at a dealership, we spent more time with our coworkers than we spent with our own families. No joke.
Right. Yep.
So I've never heard anybody put it quite that way before. So
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what it is. So that's what it is that I do as far as on the staffing side that adds real value.
Now, the other great thing is that you've been in the business for a while and you do a lot of traveling. So you work in a lot of markets. So obviously you establish a lot of connections and contacts in those markets. And let's face it, birds of a feather flock together. So the people that watch your content are the people that are relevant to what you do.
Right.
So
Yeah.
having a network on hand, I mean, I bet you run ads somewhere. You probably get a whole bunch of people when a store's looking for help, but they reach out to you because they follow your stuff. They have faith in what you do, and you're able to then bring those to the new family.
That's exactly right, man. That's like I say, I get it. I understand. Nobody planned on doing this. So I'm not going to act like this is your dream job. I don't want you to act like that to me. But while we're here, let's see what we can do to make it as profitable as possible, and as enjoyable as possible while you're here. If you got to be anywhere in the world right now and it just happened to be here, let's make it the most, successful for you. And that's really my mentality when I'm going at people, and they gravitate to that because everybody's not motivated by money. And these
No,
dealerships
there's
need
so
to
much
get out of
more.
that crap. Yeah, they need to get out of that. Everybody ain't motivated by money. Some people just want to be recognized. Number one reason people leave positions and relationships is not money. It's lack of appreciation and recognition.
It's
So
somebody didn't treat him right.
yeah,
And look, there's an old Italian saying, "The fish stinks from the head."
right.
Right? There's a lot of leaders that are not self-aware.
Right.
I've seen companies where it's a revolving door, and the only common denominator is the leader. Now, is it possible that 30 people in a row were all wrong? Right?
It's a kind of tough one, ain't it? It's a tough
Yeah,
one.
I mean, and then there's no exit interview? Really?
Right. Then the GM, by the time they realize how big the problem was, their pink slip is waiting on them, and they out the door too. See it all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
The guys that didn't have time to talk to me, but
Yeah,
then will message me direct and ask me, will I help them get a GM position at a store? And it's like, dude, you wouldn't talk to me for 5 minutes, and now you're asking me because I can do it to help you. I'll help you, brother. But one day I'm gonna come call it. Just
right.
know, one hand can wash the other.
That's so funny. So training is something that a lot of places take for granted. Training oftentimes involves, all right, so you see that guy over there? Shadow him for a few days. See
Right.
what he does. And sometimes that's the guy that's got all the bad habits. So I don't know
Right.
if that's the guy you want to shadow for a few days. So
Right.
what are some best practices on training? Are you better off with a new crew? Are you better off with, talk to me about the magic?
I think if you take people that have a drive, not necessarily a drive to be the best automotive salesperson, but just a drive to be a better person.
Yeah,
I typically have seen some of the best results from physical labor job workers that have
yeah.
transitioned over because they know what hard work really is.
Oh
And
yeah.
you telling me all I got to do is stand in this AC or run out in the heat every once in a while and speak to these people and I can make this. Oh my God. But you know what happens? dealerships today, by training being cut so much, everybody's waiting on the 20 unit a month producer to walk in the door. That's what they're expecting,
Ah,
that they just gonna walk in. And here's a news flash. The 20 unit a month producer is not applying on Indeed, Career Builder, Jobs, none of that. They don't have to. They're being
right.
recruited by some everybody. They're not walking in to interview with anybody. So if you run a store, please stop waiting on that person. It's not going to happen. As a matter of fact, it's more beneficial to take somebody and build them up under your culture and make them more suited for your business, customized to the way you do things, than coming in from someplace else, having to unlearn to relearn. So
Right.
I think the training aspect of it, the psychology, the psychological aspect of it isn't focused on. You know, when you tell a rep, hey, go say this, they'll go say it only because you asked them to. Now, will they say it effectively? 9 times out of 10, no. Why? Because they have no idea why they're saying this. What is
Right.
supposed to happen from it? What is it? What is the benefit to them and to me? Oh, we always talk about the benefit to the customer for training. Not enough is focused on the individual or what they get out of it. And remember,
Right.
everybody's not motivated by money. Some people by recognition. Let me give you an example. One store.
Hold on, your audio's kicking in and out.
How about now? Is it better? My fault.
Yeah, perfect now.
My hand, I think, went over the mic. But I'll give you an example of one store that I went into. Their team members were having horrible presentations when they were taking customers out to show them the vehicle. And they thought they were just lazy. No, they didn't know how. Why? They never focused on, whenever they were being trained about the specifics of the vehicle, it was boring to them. They weren't incentivized. But guess what? We instituted a demonstration contest every month that everybody can win a $20 gift card if you get at least an 8. So you get a certificate, you get a $20 gift card, and you get recognition. Do you know what happened? Over 70% of the staff, when they had some downtime, were over there memorizing vehicles, preparing for this demo contest. And in turn, by preparing to win the demo contest, just this $20 and the certificate, they just so happen to close a few deals in the process.
Right.
So that certificate and $20 helped them make thousands. So it was an indirect way to help them help themselves. So I think more stores need to focus in on that as opposed to the one size fits all, everybody's money motivated, and I'm just going to trust you're going to watch videos and read books on your own. They weren't doing that before they got to you. So you expect
they're never going to do that.
No, unless they're motivated by something. I believe that having their spouse and children in the dealership in the very first week they're hired does wonders for the family's belief in what's going on. So now my wife and my kids see where I work. The bosses know my family are real. My children like this office space I got. Oh my God, I don't want to lose this. Maybe I better pay more attention. Maybe I better, but that never happens. They don't have meet and greets for family. So it's little things that we institute. But just as far as sales as a whole, the road to the sale will always be an effective guideline. But this is 2021.
Right.
The way we communicate, the words we use, the body languages we read, they still kind of say the same. I mean, things haven't changed that much. There's still only 5 objections. You know, the price too high, want more from a trade, want to talk to my spouse, want to think about it, want to shop around. Everything else is bullcrap that falls under the 5. So the game hasn't changed that much, but it's just role playing, working with the team. You know this, Paul. Most stores use their hour meeting in the morning to discuss business and sales training. And the sales training is usually, hey guys, you know, we need to sell more of this, more of that. Hey, start asking some people something. Pick up the phone and make some calls, and we're going to get there. All right, and that's it.
That's every meeting. That's every meeting. And let me tell you something. You know, I love your attitude and how you look at things, okay? Because bring the family in the first week. I can tell you in 40 some odd years in the business, nobody's talked about that. Nobody.
I know one dealer group that does it, and it's Step One Automotive Group based out of Fort Walton Beach. They're huge on the family. And brother, when you look at the tenure of their employees, the support of the family members, where they're at the dinners and they're at the parties and they're at so when husband or wife or individual has to work late, their
They
mom,
get it.
they're not as upset. Yeah, because they
Right.
see how good they treat us. It's just so powerful. So powerful. Shut
I
that
worked
store
for a
down and
dealership. I
huh?
worked for a dealership. Everybody was so close. Some of my best friends today are from that dealership, the Lexus store that I used to work at. Okay, I
Yeah.
ran their internet department, their eBay store, and this company before it changed hands, we had company parties in the summertime, barbecues. I mean, I'm talking crazy stuff. Cousin John was a caterer, and we're talking full-fledged catered party, the
Right.
service department in the service drive, where people felt valued, you
Yeah.
know, like a family. This is years later, and I'm still so. My buddy Sally and I, like this from then.
And see, they think that when you order lunch on a Friday or Saturday, that's showing love. Everybody in the dealership knows you're only doing that so they can't take a lunch because you want to make sure that everybody knows it. That is not the way to show your appreciation. Shut
Yeah,
that store down one night, cater it, and have them families in there and watch what it does. I assure they'll be grateful
amazing.
that they did. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely amazing. Let me get to a couple of comments here. All right, so I think it was just Steve that was having the issue because several people have said that the audio and video is good. Lou says looking good. Tim Wilson says amen to that. And Kurt says dealers need to invest in their own bench. Build your own. My best managers came out of the prep and detail departments. Yeah, because they work their way up. They have an appreciation for what all of the people do that elevate the store.
Yep.
AJ Holst says, good evening all. Hey, thanks for tuning in, man.
Hey.
I don't want to fall too far behind, so I always like to
No,
acknowledge people. One
hey.
time I went through like 30 minutes, like, oh man, I totally blanked on the comments.
You got to show
So
them love. They here. They here with us. We all sharing the time and space, and we'll never get the time back. So thank you for everybody for tuning in for my man Paul's show. I'm happy to be here too.
yeah, so that establishes a whole different kind of culture because we do spend a lot of time in the store,
A lot.
and I was always fortunate. My kids, a guy in the car business, I didn't miss any of my kids' functions at all.
You
It
had
was
a good
just
one.
kind of understood. My
Yep.
daughter's playing soccer. My other daughter's playing hockey. I'm going to be late on a Saturday because that's when their game is, Saturday morning. And that's just kind of the way it was. But that inspired me to whatever it took. I stayed and got it done.
I was gonna say, let's make sure we let them know that in order to get it like Paul had it, I'm sure you were a producer that they knew every
Two-way
month.
street, brother.
Right, every month. And that's what folks don't get. You're not gonna get something for nothing.
Right.
If you want, at my store, we had what was called a C schedule. If you sold at least 17 for 3 months in a row, you were on a C schedule. And what that meant, I see you when I see you. You can come
Right.
in when you want, you can leave when you want. But you know what we found out? All of us on that C schedule spend more time in the store because we knew we didn't have to. But it kept us motivated to have that flexibility. Even though we spent more time in the store, being on the C schedule, we
Yeah.
busted our ass to stay eligible for that schedule. But it was a psychological, it was masterful what they did.
Yeah.
So, if I had it my way, and one day, folks, I assure y'all, I do contemplate opening up a store. I would have just 6-hour work days, right? That's what if you hit your numbers, 6 hours. If you don't hit your numbers, be prepared to be here 10. And every month you're consistent, cool. But in order to keep hitting those numbers, you got to be here. But I'm saying, I would do that.
Listen,
I would like to test that theory.
I had a schedule where I only had to go in 2 Saturdays a month. Okay, that was my sales schedule. But guess what? I didn't miss any. I went in on all of them. And in the middle of the night, okay, when the phone went ding, I was always blessed with great sleep habits, right? So I could hear the phone at 2 a.m. go ding. I could respond to the lead. I had some templates set up ready to go. I put the name in, a couple of personal things, a little something about the car they inquired on. Send. And you'd be shocked how many times the email would come back. You guys are open now? It's 2 in the morning. Like, dude, it's the internet, man. We're always open. The internet
Right.
turns 24/7.
I'm here for you, baby.
You know?
That's got to be impressive. And the quicker the response, the more impressive to the customer, the higher the likelihood of you getting that deal, doing business with them.
And here's the funny part. We talk about no loyalty in this business today, right? We talk that the loyalty of years ago is out the window. But here's the weird part about the new loyalty. The new loyalty is that when you respond to them at 2 in the morning and the other people, I'm not talking about autoresponders. Hey, thanks for your inquiry. When can you come in and meet with us? No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, hey, Bill, thanks for inquiring about this 2017 Infinity. You know, that type of reply. So you respond to them at 2 a.m. and then maybe 11 a.m. the next day, some of the responses from the real people start coming in, or sometimes up to 2 days later. This is what the customer says. I'm all set. I've already got an appointment with a guy that responded to me at 2 a.m.
That's it. Speed. It's speed.
They don't want to go through a lot of rigmarole. They don't.
No.
They as much as we say, oh, the customer says they don't want to negotiate, but they really do. But guess what? If you treat them head on the way they want to be treated, they're a lot quicker to respond and a lot quicker to be loyal.
Can I address that thing you said about people believing this customers not wanting to negotiate? We still think that that's a thing. I think what increases negotiation is lack of education. Yeah. What that means is that throughout the process, a lot of times you'll find that the customer that feels like they weren't listened to, that nobody cares about them, they're not on the right vehicle, they're being pressured. The only way that they can get back at that sales rep is when it's time for you to throw those numbers on the table, baby. And they know that. They know that they didn't like you and they don't want to buy from you. They just gonna make you dance, because we all know too, when we got them customers that feel good, we asking them questions, they're responding, we got them on the right thing. Man, they assign first pencil.
Yeah.
First pencil. They're not ignorant. That people say, oh, you took advantage of them. No, I didn't. They're intelligent. To make the money to afford that, they're very capable and intelligent. They just felt like this was a good deal and he worked hard. It's worth that. The other person feel like I wouldn't pay that crap if it was the last thing on this planet. So people need to get off the negotiation. If you got a lot of customers negotiating with you, you need to look at you. Somewhere you got to step your education up.
Yeah, there's something that you're not conveying to the customer that the customer, they will tell you everything that you need to close them.
Right.
They'll tell you. You just have to listen.
Yep. And ask the right stuff. Asking about the game and the weather isn't going to help you get closer to helping them make a buying decision. You know what I'm saying?
How often do you see people on the wrong car?
Oh, my God. A lot. Especially if a dealership is offering a spiff of any kind. If there's a monetary spiff, oh my God, customer comes in and say, hey, they come in with 3 kids. It's a couple that walks in. They have 3 children, and they've got a spiff though on a sports car. So the family walks in and say, hey, we're looking for something we're expecting. You know what? Let me show you this. And it's the craziest thing in the world. So do I see it a lot? Yeah. I think the biggest thing, as opposed to being on the wrong car, I see salespeople not educating customers on the benefit and value of flipping to a pre-owned option and how that should never be seen as a negative.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's almost treated like, oh, damn, you couldn't get the new song. I guess here you go. When in reality, they should be approaching it like, hey, listen, I know we tried right here with this new thing, but let me tell you something. The good news is that we do got some pre-owned options on the lot. And the cool thing is that the body style is similar. The features and the options are fairly the same, except a couple maybe minor upgrades. But the good news is that we may be able to fit within that budget that you're trying to be at. You know what I'm saying? Will you at least let me show that to you? Flipping it in a more positive way rather than, all right, well, let me see if we can get you into something used. No, man, lucky for you, we got a couple pre-owns. And the good thing about it is they fairly similar to so I think that that part of it, and if we are seeing people get on the wrong vehicle, I'm watching sales reps rush through qualifying as if it's a race. And you'll say, how you done so fast? Oh man, that person, they're ready to go. How do you know that? Well, I could tell, they were. So let me ask you this. How long did you know them before they came in? I never met them. Okay. So within 5 minutes, you could establish what this person's face and breaths and body language means. I was married for 20 years and was still amazed by my ex-wife every day. So you're going to tell me this stranger? Come on, man. They don't have a ball and chain holding them down. If they're sitting there, they want to be there. And it's my job to make them just want to be there an extra 5 minutes. That's all. And an extra
Here's the beauty about the pre-owned switch, okay? They're coming in with a 7-year-old car. It's got a check engine light on. It's got a skip maybe. They can't get the brand new one, but guess what? They can get a car that's 4 years newer than what they're driving. That's got 60,000 less miles than they have now. That's got a few bells and whistles that they don't have now. You mean to tell me that's not value to somebody? And they can afford it?
That's super positive. You know what I'm saying? So I see a lot of that. And again, trickles from the top down. I see a lot of folks that are in management at stores that never should be there. And they're only in those seats because they outlasted other people. But their skill set, not all. Some are really good.
Sometimes it's a family thing.
Oh, you and I spoke before the show about that. I've seen that where the person running it has no idea what's going on, can care less about the art of sales, but is making all the money and demanding all of these things. And again, people leave when they don't feel appreciated.
Exactly.
In those stores.
AJ Holt says, family first, time off can be a greater motivation than money. You know what? It definitely worked for me because the relationship I have with my kids today, I was there for the cutting of the umbilical cords on both my daughters.
Me too, my son.
There are people to this day that swear that I didn't really cut that cord because it's still attached to me. But the bottom line is, because I worked for people that respected that, is how I was able to develop and maintain the relationships with my daughters years after they're already out of the house, adults on their own. I could pick up the phone now. We could have an hour conversation about life. I
Priceless,
visit them. Priceless.
And I'll tell you, when I was younger, I can honestly admit that I was on the path to where I was chasing money and prominence so much that I would be gone for periods of time. Now, granted, luckily for me, I was there for, both the births of my son, cut the cords and, was there. We took them to school. So I never missed major things when they were young, but I was on my way to where my mentality was, we got this house, we got these cars, they're good. I need to go keep making it. Luckily, I met a really good mentor of mine, and he said, well, you just got to make more in less time. And he said, Brian, he said, if you really want to know what success is, he said, is spending time with your loved ones and with your family. And he said, you could tell the success of a man's life by what he leaves in his wake. And if all he leaves is money, the state might get that because he don't have any family or anybody that he cares about to leave it to. But when you make impressions on people's lives and, you make memories with people and life experiences, those things that carry on after we long gone. So, but it's okay to make a few dollars while you're doing it, though.
Of course. Life is about balance, right? Life is about balance.
Right.
And you get so close to people that, my late mother-in-law, okay, my buddy Sally, he would call, we would FaceTime. And he just loved my late mother-in-law, this old Italian woman. And I remember for her birthday, it was a milestone. I don't remember. Maybe it was the 90th. I don't remember exactly which one. But Sally said, okay, I want you to download this particular radio station because we do advertising on this station. It's an Italian radio station. And I'm going to sing happy birthday to her on the radio station. In Italian. So We tuned in that morning, and she's sitting there, and all of a sudden she hears somebody address her over the radio, and then start singing happy birthday to her in Italian.
Oh, did she cry, man?
Oh man, it just, like you said, life's moments are extremely important.
They are. They are. But, finding that balance, because I do spend a lot of time honing my craft. And this is another thing, which I'm sure you do, because, we kindred spirits, but I work my ass off to make sure my skills stay sharp. And so when I meet people who I see are, say they're struggling and they're not being consistent in sales, and I say, well, what books you reading, man? What you listening to? What's the last conference you attended? What about a webinar you checked out? Man, I don't have time for that. And I'll be like, and I'll ask him, I'll say, what is the one thing that Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, and what's the guy named that, oh my God, that earned Birkin, the richest man in the world, one of the richest men in the world. Oh my God, the little guy with the glasses.
Bill Gates.
Not Bill Gates, the other little guy with the glasses, with the white hair, Berkshire Hathaway.
Oh, yeah.
What? Can you believe you forget his name? This is insane. Okay, well, let me just use these two and watch it come to us after a while.
Yeah.
But I'll say, you're familiar with Oprah Winfrey? You're familiar with Bill Gates? And they'll say, well, yeah. And I'll say, what is it that you have in common with Warren Buffett? Thank you. Golly.
Senior moment, bro. Senior moment.
Yeah. Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Gates, and everybody's familiar with them. And I say, what is it that you have in common with them? And they'll say all this stuff. I'm a human. No, I say 24 hours. I would say, so what that means, 24 hours in a day and 7 days a week. What that means is that even if you're a billionaire, you don't get an extra day. You don't get an extra hour. So in order for them to get where they were, they utilized the same exact time of the day and days of the week that we did. And sometimes just helping people fall back and say, really, what are you doing with most of your day? Are you texting? Are you smoking? Are you hanging? And you'll find you can snatch 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes here. Next thing you know, you got an hour that you put in reading, listening, perfecting, and honing your skills. At the end of the week, that's 7 hours. At the end of the month, that's 28. At the end of the year, you over 200. 5 years, boom. You know what I'm saying? You on your way. So it's systematic like that, but people got to want it.
Right. You have to want it. Like, networking is huge, right? Networking is huge because it can open doors for you that otherwise would not open.
Right.
And, it's...
Some people have too big egos, though, Paul.
Well, those people are not very smart. Those people are not very smart.
Because networking is everything. You and I communicated, we reached out, we shared numbers, we got on the phone, and here we are. But imagine somebody's ego, you saying, man, I'm dealer vendor match, and this guy, Brian, he should come and he should have to beg or ask. You just never know how people get down. I'd have reached out to you, hey, brother, and I don't want to talk to him. And there are people out there to do that. And them same people you do that to while you're up. You got to pass them on their way down. So, I'm grateful to all of those who, I'm honored by anybody who listens to anything that I say or do and enjoy it. I really think and feel that's an honor because there's so many people with so many good things to say. And for you to take some time out for me, I just thank you. You know what I mean? I thank everyone for that. Yeah, no,
I'm the same way. I appreciate, when people invest their valuable time into looking at stuff. And you know what's cool is that when you meet people for the first time or you talk to them for the first time that, maybe you've been connected with, when they quote stuff that you said a long time ago.
Right, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's somebody that took the time to listen to your stuff, absorbed it, and is quoting it.
Right. It's an honor. And I noticed your show, right? I watch and I'm paying attention to everything. And you give content and information to people just because, and I don't know if everybody realizes what goes into, not just shooting a video, but editing it, having the things that you got right for it, making sure this is right, that's right, the content, keeping it flowing, consistent, and then getting it up. And doing that consistently for years, what that really takes, in a person's life. So I appreciate that, but I always appreciate people who are giving for the sake of giving, because some people put information out for cash apps and and all of these other things and asking for everything. And you say, well, if I wasn't giving them that, would they still put out this content? So when I see you and I see your show and what you give and your stuff online, you're always giving. And sometimes I feel like we do need to pay it forward. And so somebody like you, maybe you should put a Cash App or something on your show and on your information, because you give out even the restaurants. That would be so cool. Again, I want to give you your flowers while you still here, because I know what goes into running these shows. This is not, it's a lot of work in that, which is why I don't do one. I try, I was asked, I said, oh my God, you mean every single week I gotta, on top of everything else? Oh no, I'll be a guest. And so,
but you know what? I love it so much that, I look forward to each one. It's like an hour to some people seems like a really, really long time.
It's quick.
But an hour, it could be long or it could be short. For me, they always seem short.
Right.
But if you hate what you're doing, it could be a very long time. And the great thing about it is that, my hope is that somebody picks up something from somebody. Because if you only pick up a little nugget that can help you, that's a great thing.
Yeah. I heard
the
something.
The forward thing is huge.
I heard something today, and it was, you hear the statement where people say, do what you love, and this, that, and I heard somebody say, well, that's not true. They said, really, you need to do what you hate. And what you might find is that there is a hidden jewel over there of success, because everything that we love may not be profitable. Let's just be real. Like if I love bees, it ain't too many ways for me to be profitable with bees. So if we're talking about doing what we love and being profitable financially, that's a whole nother ball game. Meaning, if you work at a dealership, you don't have to love cars. You might not love cars. You might not love people, but you may love your family enough to do everything you need to do to come in and do that. So if you're looking for ways to be motivated, stop looking for the typical ways, which is sales numbers and yada, yada. Find what drives you. If it's your significant other saying, great job, baby, then tell them, hey, listen, every month that I do 15 or 20, you have to take me out to dinner. Can you do that? Yeah. Well, hey, listen, I'm doing that. So my significant other has to take me out to dinner. Or, hey, kids, when daddy does this, we get to watch. It's whatever. But
find your why. Find your why.
Find it, man. And don't let your dealership dictate to you what your why is. Every good leader will let you know, will find out what your why is, as opposed to trying to tell you, which is what a lot of these stores do. They're telling them it's money, it's money, it's money. And another thing, we talk about loyalty. And I've seen this adjusted in the stores that I work with, which is we ask the sales reps to treat the customers a certain way, but yet leadership fails to realize that the employee staff are their customers.
Right.
Same way we're supposed to find out what's going on and identify the problems and present solutions, and we teach
internal customers.
That's exactly what they are. That's really what they are. And so, how many managers don't know what drives their salespeople on an individual basis?
Yeah,
couldn't even tell you how many children they got. And that's
they don't know what's interesting. They don't know what they're interested in. They don't know what their hobbies are. I've been into stores where there's a disconnect between management and the employee. Okay, and said, oh, that person, stay clear of that person. They won't look you in the eye. They won't talk to you. Well, guess what? Spend a little bit of time with them. You find out that, hey, we got a shared past. We've done some similar things in the past. And when we spoke about those events, that person smiled because it brought back some of the good things that they remember from back then that you never found out about. I'm not saying, you're going to go over and play checkers and chess with them every night. No, that's not what I'm talking about. But like you said, it's get to know your people, what moves them, what drives them, and make them feel like they're important to you, and they will be your soldiers.
Dude, let me tell you a quick success story, because I know that this time has gone by so fast. And I'm going to say his name, Javier Castillo. I hired him at David Moss Volkswagen in Orlando. And this story is tremendous because he was my very last person I was meeting with that day. Clean cut, good looking Hispanic guy. Came in and started talking. I could not understand a lick of English from this man. So in my mind, I said, this is over with really quick. I'm gonna be polite, let him finish, but there's no way we proceeding. And when I was trying to get him out the office, that man looked at me and he said, Mr. Maxwell, all I need is chance. And it was something about the way he looked at me and said it. And I began to just ask him a few more questions and found out his wife and daughter was in Puerto Rico. He couldn't afford to send them over. He was walking back and forth to Disney. This man was driven. Do you know, in his second month at the store, not only did he sell 22 vehicles, but he averaged 20 for the rest of his tenure. Plus, for the rest of his tenure, he's like a finance director now for an Acura store. But you talk about somebody who is not from this country, didn't speak the language, had no social media, couldn't take a phone call because his English was bad. So 20 or more units where people that grew up in that city couldn't compete.
Right.
What does that? Is that automotive knowledge? Is that no? That's will. It's not the skill of the person all the time. It's the will of the person.
Knowledge.
Right. He wanted it too, and he wanted it. And it's amazing how the harder you work, the luckier you get. So
yeah,
you were talking about that earlier. But I want to share
Weldon
that.
Says you need to leave your ego at the door. That is true. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know how to do that. And AJ Holt says a lot of people listen to respond versus listen to hear the customer.
That's it.
They're waiting for the trigger word that causes a certain action, to dismiss somebody, to ignore somebody, to leave that person and do whatever. So yeah, Steve Apicella, we need to inspire, educate, and earn our customers. People hate feeling like they're being sold. Nobody wants to be sold, but everybody wants to own. Yep. Their feedback is loud and clear. Customers dislike the current car buying process. They dislike it so much that after the sale, most don't come back. 7 out of 10 don't. That's a fact. Is the auto retailing industry's mission to only sell a car or also to earn a recurring customer? If done properly, the salesperson will earn recurring sales from that customer regardless of where they go. If the store, the culture, the management did their job properly, that customer will be loyal to the store and the team that salesperson is part of.
And here's one thing. Can I add something real quick, Paul? Is that okay? Of
course.
McDonald's. McDonald's is a company that everybody around the world is familiar with. Kids 2 years old know who they are. If you took the word McDonald's off the Golden Arches and just put them up, everybody would know who they are.
Yeah.
Remember, kids 2 years old, but yet McDonald's is on our television, on our radio, on our social media pages, 24 hours, every hour on the hour, 7 days a week, 365. Why?
Yeah.
They understand the general public has ADD. So the key to the reoccurring business, getting that deal, but it's also making sure that you have the McDonald's approach, which is don't be arrogant enough to believe just because they bought the vehicle from you, they're going to remember your name in 6 months. They might have really liked you, and you might have done great. I have family members whose names I don't remember from the family reunion I was just at 2 months ago. I love them, but I don't remember cousin such and such from Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? Until I see them. So don't believe just because you did a great job, they gave a great survey, they're going to remember you. They may remember you by face, but remember, we got our everyday lives going on. So you have to take the McDonald's approach and find a valid reason to just stay in touch, to just touch the people that you do.
Nurture.
Help buy a vehicle. That's how you build that base back up. Got to stay in front of them. So when they're ready and they have that person that says, hey, I'm looking, boom, you right there.
Yeah, you got to nurture that relationship always. Tim Wilson says it takes a true dedication and love for your craft. Absolutely. You have to love what you're doing. I have a dear friend of mine that she was working in the office. She went into car sales. I worked with her. I trained her. She did well in car sales. She left the dealership, went to work for another dealership. The training at that store was minimal to non-existent. I went, my friend, I spent time with her. I showed her the word tracks, some of the things to do. She did well at her job, but she never loved the job until finally she just ended up leaving, and she got into another line of work. that she does love, you know. So
And
you
it's, you know,
definitely gotta find your thing. Ron Usher says, famous quote, "I love to eat." Paul Meyer. And my average Facebook friend gains 12 pounds a year. Just say it. Brew, the coffee guy says, that's making dreams happen. You can't teach hunger. You can only feed it. Yeah.
you can only feed it.
Hey,
You can only
Crystal.
feed it.
Yeah, no, you can only feed it. Oh man. How does, you know what really sucks is, why does 60 minutes always go in like 10 minutes?
I don't know, you know. I mean, because I just thought about that too. And you and I before the show, we said, man, you know, we got these. We gotta make sure we get through these points. And I said, oh, we're gonna do it.
I get through
But when
all
the
of them.
but it's organic, and when the conversation is organic, it's gonna go where it needs to go for,
Yeah.
you know, where the vibe is and what the audience vibing is. So I think I'm enjoying myself, even though I wish we could do this another 3 hours. But you know, I know we only got a few minutes left.
Man, we got through like a very small part of what. Although you know what, we covered a lot of it.
I can come back. You know what I'm saying? You can always have me back on. That's
Oh,
all.
absolutely, absolutely.
That's all. We just do it again. You know, we just do it again. Have some more fun. You know, by that time I'm in Colorado, like I was telling you right now, and all I've been doing is eating every day. I was looking at a Jim Gaffigan comedy show the other day, and he said, you know why people go on vacation? So they can eat food in places that they've never eaten before. He said, so the whole vacation is like, hey, let's go get something to eat. Before we go eat, we should get something to eat. And after that, make sure we got to get something to eat tonight. That's all I've been doing, man. So that's
Well,
it.
that's the story of my life, man. We travel for food.
Right.
And we went for pizza in New Haven yesterday. Probably, almost a 2-hour round trip. But
Was it worth it?
Yeah, that's where the best pizza is. Pizza capital of the world. So we travel.
Oh,
We go to the Bronx. The best Italian food you got on Arthur Avenue in the Bronx.
see,
It's a
you the man.
2-hour one-way drive, man. 2 hours
But
one way.
See, that's why you the one who I'm gonna reach out to when I start hitting these other cities. Tell me where to go, because you got it.
All right. So Crystal says Paul gets everyone talking. My wife would say he never shuts up.
I
Mark
love it.
Williamson says it's not the skill, it's the will. I like that.
Yeah.
That is, as he says, so true. Michael Weldon, subject matter well worth today's time. Thank you so much. Michael, I can't thank you enough for your support, man. Every week you tune in. It's a beautiful thing. I appreciate all the people that spend time with us on a Sunday night.
Salute, yeah.
Sunday, when I first started this, I was kind of 50-50 on Sunday night. A part of me said, well, it's Sunday night. Who's going to watch a show? People have work the next day. But then I figured, it's Sunday night. Who's going to be out? So they're going to be home.
Yep.
Today, there's so much interaction, in social media that I'm extremely thankful that, people tune in every week.
They are. And it's cool for me because I'm 2 hours behind where I usually would be. It's only, a 5 and some change. Well, no, it's almost 6 where I am, or 7 where I am. It's still light outside, so we're getting ready to go eat right after I'm waiting to go to dinner with some folks after we get done with this.
I don't know if you want to drive an hour to Denver, but there was a place called Guard and Grace.
Guard and Grace, what are they? We've been driving. That's what we've been doing. We drove to Boulder. We drove to Fort Collins. We've been driving all these different places. We went to one of the top 7 buffets in the state. I won't even say the name and do that to them on the internet. But yeah, we've had some experiences where you say, how'd they get restaurant? But
at the time I went, I wasn't one for raw fish, right? But they had this ahi tuna that was incredible.
And
So
I
took a picture of it. I sent it to my stepson, and he knew I wasn't big on raw. The message came back from him: "Who are you, and what have you done to my stepfather?"
I like ahi tuna. That's good stuff.
Man, well, Brian, I can't thank you enough, man. This has been a great hour. You will definitely have to come back. There's no question about it. You must come back. I want that commitment from you right now. Raise your right hand.
You got it, brother. Let me put my right hand up. I will be back. I'm definitely
I will be back.
I will be
Now,
back.
oftentimes, if you're like me, you remember what you forgot to ask when you had the opportunity to do so. I love your style. I love your enthusiasm for the business. I'm sure there's going to be somebody that sees this that's going to want to reach out to you after the show's done. If you could go into the post on my profile on LinkedIn and put in your contact info. That way, if anybody wants to reach out to you, they can certainly do so. Let me just get to the last few comments here. Tim Wilson says, great interview. Thank you, gentlemen. No, thank you. Greg Dudley, great show, guys. Lou, the coffee guy. Great talk, guys. Keep brewing solutions and raising the standards.
What's
Paul
up, Lou?
Udistan, Brian, you're a legend. Cheers. And Mark Williamson says, awesome show as always. Thanks, guys. Wow, I am truly humbled and thankful. I appreciate everybody. Have an awesome week. Safe travels, man, and enjoy some of that delicious food out there.
Thank you, my brother. Hey, safe. Have an awesome week, everybody. Paul, you and I will definitely be talking again. And man, I look forward to seeing all of y'all at the top.
Awesome. Have a great week, and thanks again for watching Sunday Night Live.
All right, bro.